This is my audience, and I am Isabella Brady. So, if I asked you within the next 5 seconds to name the most popular Italian dish, what would you think? Okay, I bet most of you thought fettuccine alfredo. So, while an Olive Garden classic, Alfredo has been morphed into a heavy, creamy pasta dish for Americans. But would you be shocked to learn that most Italians don't even know what fettuccine alfredo is? Alfredo has been transformed to accommodate the American palate, losing its traditional recipe and, with it, the heartwarming backstory of this comfort food. Many Americans love Italian pasta, but I think it's important to recognize the true recipe and intention behind these dishes and how America has warped them to be their own. So, after reviewing many different Italian opinions through blogs, articles, podcasts, and different recipe sites, it's become clear that Alfredo has become a tourist dish and isn't one of Italian recognition. So I'll begin with exploring the creator, Alfredo, his intentions when he made the recipe, the rise of the dish, and the transformation it went through to become American. So the creator is Alfredo Dell'Olio. He was born in Rome in 1883. Alfredo helped his mother, Angelina, and they had a family-owned restaurant in Rome. So Rome is like a cultural hotspot, but it did kind of just blend in to the city. It wasn't super popular. It was kind of just another restaurant. So his wife, Ines, gave birth in 1908, and she was very weak after. She had trouble eating. And so because of this, Alfredo made a recipe that he thought would be calming, easy to digest, but also taste really good. So I actually found this love story between Ines and Alfredo on timemachinecuisine.com. So let's talk about the original recipe. So what did he make? What did he curate in his little kitchen? So Alfredo made fresh fettuccine, which was, normal in Italy to have fresh pasta, even though that's pretty foreign to us, with butter, Parmesan, and a little bit of pasta water. And you may think, this isn't like the creamy dish that we're used to. So with all of those ingredients, you have to mix vigorously. You got to do it really nicely, and that's how you kind of get that creamy coating on the pasta that we had to use cream to get. So you can actually find the original recipe on many different websites, but I found it from a podcast called Italian or American by Francesco Dama. So after his wife tried it, she loved it so much that she was basically forcing him to put it on the menu. She was like, this is a crowd pleaser. It's so simple. It's so easy, but it's so tasty. So they added it onto the menu. And he ended up opening up his own restaurant in 1941 in the heart of Rome. And you may be wondering, how did it get so popular? Because it was just from a little family. And, if it's not even recognized in Italy anymore, you may think, well, why is it so popular here? The American silent film actors Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks ended up trying this fettuccine on a vacation in Rome. And so they're obviously from America, and they aren't really used to such high-quality butter, fresh noodles, and the Parmesan and everything. So they ended up spreading word throughout all of Hollywood. They tried it, they came back, and they were, blown away. They had never tried something like this. It ended up becoming really popular in Hollywood, and actors and different celebrities tried it, like Albert Einstein, Francis Scott Fitzgerald, and Amelia Earhart. The list goes on, and there's more celebrities that have gone there. There's a bunch of pictures on the actual restaurant, and I found this list on literaryhub.com. So due to the lack of ingredients that we had in 1920s America, they could not recreate this dish. I don't even know if they had Parmesan. They definitely didn't have very good quality cheese. They didn't have fresh pasta. They didn't have good butter. So this was not easy to make. They could not replicate this in America. It had to make kind of the sauce, the creamy, rich sauce. They had to add cream and a lot more cheese, and kind of made it like mac and cheese, even though it was originally supposed to be really light on the stomach. And I find that a little ironic because, you know, it's something that was made for someone who was sick and someone who needed something light for her stomach, and now it's been transformed into kind of like a gluttonous mac and cheese. So we know Alfredo de Lelio, we know his recipe, how it's been Americanized, and we can kind of see the irony behind this shift. So I truly believe the background of dishes is important because not only are we eating the food that we have in front of us, but the background is part of the nutrients that we digest, because human connection and intention are what feed the soul. And I think it's so important to kind of recognize this. So what was once a light pasta dish to soothe an ill wife has become an Italian-American dish that the lactose intolerant fear. And that's why I think it's sort of ironic that this dish has been so skewed to the American palate and Italians don't even know what it is. So yes, thank you for watching.